the Centennial Sports Arena here in Circle Pines, Minnesota for a girls' high school hockey border battle between 8th-ranked Centennial Spring Lake Park and the Blaine Bengals, here to bring you on North Metro TV. We got a good one on a Saturday night here in Circle Pines. I'm Matt Dean, happy to be joined alongside by Bill Hupp, and always fun when we got these two rivals facing off, Bill. Red versus blue, and a big one here tonight as the puck drops in Circle Pines.
Yeah, it's a cat clash, and it's always a big deal no matter what the sport is. Girls hockey is no exception. These two teams find themselves 3rd and 5th in the conference standings, and for Blaine, they're going to have to rely on the goaltending of Haley Hansen if they want to stop this high-powered Centennial SLP offense.
Absolutely. That's going to be the matchup we are going to key on tonight, starting with goaltending, and Blaine have one of the best in the state, Bill, in the senior Haley Hansen.
Minnesota State Mankato commit Haley Hansen. She's been all-state the last 3 years. She's a captain, and you look at those numbers. She's one of the best in the state for a reason, and she has helped carry this Blaine team to the 5th place standing in the conference standings this season. That
save percentage, one of the top 10 marks in the state in Class AA among all netminders who have faced at least 250 shots. On the other side, future Gopher Lauren O'Hara is a physical specimen, extremely talented player who's been in a scoring binge for the Cougars, no surprise.
You look at that, you look at those numbers, nearing 40 points this season. She is a smart, savvy, skilled hockey player who also happens to be 6'1" on skates. So she is just physically imposing out there, knows how to work with her line mates as well, and she really centers that top line for Centennial.
Yeah, O'Hara on pace for a second straight 50-point season. Big one coming up, Blaine and Centennial SLP next on North Metro TV.
North Metro TV News is your source for local stories. Highlighting the issues in your community, we bring you the news that's closer to home. Join us as we explore the stories all around us, every day at 2:30, 6:30, and 10:30.
Welcome back into the Centennial Sports Arena. We are getting set for the opening puck drop. A great matchup at a girls' high school hockey up here in the North Burbs as Centennial SLP, the 8th-ranked team in the state, gets set to take on the Blaine Bengals in a rivalry matchup here tonight. I'm Matt Dean. I'm alongside Bill Hupp. Should be a fun one that we've got. And our matchup that we keyed in on, Bill, one of the top scoring offenses in the conference in Centennial SLP up against Blaine. But we should mention Caitlin Gross having an excellent season between the pipes for the Cougars as well.
Yeah, Gross was outstanding last year for the Cougars. Helped lead them to a section title appearance by standing on her head against Rogers in the section semis. So talk a lot about Haley Hansen in net for Blaine, but Caitlin Gross is certainly no slouch for the Cougars.
Bengals are led by the 26th-year head coach Steve Guider, who's racked up over 300 wins in his tenure as the head man. His top line of Macy Jansen, Grayson Knowles, and Grace Chapman to start out on the ice in blue. Knowles, the sophomore, springs it back to the deep pairing of Kendall Dean and Bella Brady. And off we go here in the Centennial Sports Arena. Starting for the Cougars, it's Hannah Thompson and Katie Ball on the blue line. The third unit of Cody Renslow and Larson begin the evening on the ice for the Cougars, wearing white with the black and red stripes on the sweaters. Blaine in the 2 shades of blue. Here's a shot fired on off to the side of the net. Collected and passed out behind by the Bengals. They chip it out ahead of the scorer's table, and this will be raced down, picked up with the sophomore Alexis Larson. Slips it off to Ball, a little heavy off for her stick, and Thompson's able to send it right back to Ella O'Hearn as the top line is onto the ice now for Centennial SLP.
Yep, bit of a shaky start. Both teams just trying to work out some nerves, each trying to establish extended zone time.
O'Hara with the interception, threw it in front, and a key takeaway by the Bengals as they try to work it out the opposite end. Taylor Olson had that steal. Now it's turned over again at neutral ice and fired over by Kuhlenkamp. Tegan Kuhlenkamp, a sophomore who is one of the wingers on that top line along with O'Hara and O'Hearn. As here it's going to be chased after in the forecheck by Kuhlenkamp. Passed out the back by Kendall Dean. And it gets as far as the half wall where O'Hara picks it up. Slips it off to Anna Jarpy. Her pass in behind deflected on a stick by Brady. Still a scrum for it. Cougars come out with it. Leak back out to the edge of the circle by O'Hara, the future Gopher. Lauren O'Hara steers a shot. Save kicked aside by Haley Hansen, and it's scooted out of the defensive zone by the Bengals across for icing. And we have our first stoppage with 15:08 to go in the first.
You wonder if we're going to see that a lot tonight from Steve Guider's team as you see the longtime Blaine Bengals boss bench. And bench boss is what I meant to say. And yeah,
he's a bench boss too.
Icing not a bad way to get an extra shift or to get a change, because this Blaine team, as we'll discuss throughout the game, is a little bit shorthanded, only running really two and a half lines. So they're going to need to cut down on the shift length whenever they can.
It is a team that expects to play quite a bit in their defensive zone here tonight, and we got a chance to chat with Steve Guider. He has a lot of respect for the firepower on this Centennial SLP unit, and in particular that top line of forwards, Kuhlenkamp, O'Hara, and O'Hearn. And we will see how that plays out throughout the night. As we keyed in on, they're going to need their star in net, Haley Hansen, to have a big game this evening. Fed in front by Larson. It is taken away by Macy Jansen, who passes it up ahead. Little rush for the Bengals, 2-on-1, and it's fired in. A save made by Gross, but a great look, the best of the night so far, as CeCe Ledeen was steering in. We get a look at the head coach of the Cougars, Sean Moline, who's in his third season since taking over. He's a Roseville High School grad, previous stints coaching at Gentry Academy and in the Andover youth system, as well as some time previously coaching at the squirt level in Centennial. So he has been around the block in coaching, albeit in a new role as the head coach at Centennial a couple years back when he took the Cougars to the state tournament.
And been a part of some winning programs. You talk about Andover and Gentry. Those two programs are quite successful, so he knows how to play winning hockey, and he's got a team that figures to be the 2 seed in Section 5, and hopefully give the top seed Maple Grove a run for its money for the section title.
Oh, shot in from the point, nearly deflected in. Gross had to make a save as that was worked in from the edge by number 2, Bella Brady, on the initial shot. Cougars get it out of their zone, and although we said Bengals might be playing a little bit backs against the wall here tonight in this matchup, a couple of nice shifts and some good scoring chances created in the offensive zone so far. Here's Grayson Knowles takes it up.
And they did a nice job against Rogers at home when they sprung a 3-1 upset. Not really an upset anymore, but Rogers came in, and we thought they'd have to ride their defense, and they took advantage of some opportunistic goal scoring to eventually take it 3-1 over the Royals.
That was almost just a couple of moments ago. Really good scoring chances. O'Hara tried to knife inside, and Kendall Dean, who had a nice poke check to deter her. O'Hara tried to walk it through once again, and Jansen that time, the other co-captain, with a pesky poke check, forced the Cougars to have to touch back up. Kuhlenkamp finds new power on the carom off the half wall. Cougars get it in deep, keep that cycle going. This is Ella O'Hearn off the half boards, able to keep it inside the blue line, get it off to Kuhlenkamp, fires a shot through traffic off O'Hara. Rebound is cleared by the Bengals as it was finally worked out of there, but only momentarily by Blaine up to their blue line. Stays in the offensive zone for the Cougars for the moment. Grace Chapman sweeps it out. Here's Macy Jansen, leading point getter, not able to quite latch on to the end of that pass as Anna Jarpie sweeps it up along the wall. Deflects back inside, and the Cougars try to advance it up with Noelle Hemmer. Flips it up ahead, stolen by Schaefer, and she'll carom it to Annabelle Buccicconi, who is one of a handful of middle schoolers out in the lineup. 7th and 8th graders getting some time, and pretty big minutes for Sean Moline's Cougars this year. You got Buccicconi, Lager, and Shat Lane. Those last two names we mentioned, who both play on the second line for Centennial as the wingers. Here's Buccicconi drilling a shot low. It got kicked at by Hemmer off the skate and deflected wide. Buccicconi will line it up again. Shot block as she was closed out by Taylor Olson. And it's tried to be ushered in from the side by Lager, one of the 8th graders we mentioned. Fought at in the half wall. Leaked back out and finally cleared out to the neutral zone by Taylor Olsen. Much needed changes coming from the Bengal bench after a long shift.
You can see Bucciaconi out there playing so confidently, directing traffic, back skating, and she's already a really, really fast skater, but also has a real high hockey IQ. So obviously it speaks to the quality in the Centennial youth system that you have so many contributing middle schoolers.
Yeah, all those players, Bucciaconi, a 7th grader, Lager and Chatelaine, the 8th graders, all among some of the best handful of 5 to 10 players in the state. That's what their head coach Sean Moline was saying. So that one is worked off the wall. Good physical battle by Bella Brady to jostle it loose. It's held into the zone by Hannah Thompson. One of the top 2 D pairings, slipped through the middle, leaks out into space, trying to shoot it top shelf was the defenseman Katie Ball. Thompson keeps it in along the half-board's far side. Chipped in deep, and this is the Bengals trying to work it out with Grayson Knowles. Knowles able to get it off to Brady. Cruises it around to Jansen, a defenseman moving up to play forward the last handful of games. Chapman will just dump it into the netminder Gross. Easy save for her as the Bengals were swapping out for some fresh legs. Renslow dumped it in from neutral ice for Centennial for an icing call, and we've got inside 10 minutes left to play in the first period.
Well, right idea there, trying to catch them in the change. As you see the Northwest Suburban Conference standings, everybody chasing the top 2 in Andover and Maple Grove. Andover, of course, in Section 7 with Blaine, and Maple Grove in Section 5. So tall order for either of these schools to make state, but certainly possible the way they can play. You never know in hockey.
This is still a really heated, really competitive rivalry series. But although it's taken a little bit of steam out of it with Centennial and Blaine not being in the same section a little bit anymore. Here's Ella O'Hearn, forces the turnover, feeds it inside. O'Hara to the backhand, and it's swallowed up by Haley Hansen. The premier matchup of 2 of the best players on the ice. That was O'Hara switching to the backhand, and Haley Hansen, the future Mankato Maverick, walling her off.
And such great patience by both players, because O'Hara tried to wait until Hansen went down and then elevate the puck, and Hansen stayed with it rather nicely.
Jarpy shot in front, kick save from Hansen. The rebound was sitting there for a second before it was cleared out of there by the Bengals, just for the moment, as it is poked free off the stick of Jarpy, and has to be touched back up by the Cougars. New power to Jarpy. Jarpy will sling it in, steered aside by Hansen for Maya Gunter to pick it up. Tries to pass it out up the wing to Chapman, able to center it to Knowles. Stolen away by O'Hara. She went steaming in and had it poked off her stick by Schaefer. It'll tip up and out of play, stopping us up with 8:51 to go here in the first.
And Blaine has been very good this year against ranked teams. As you take a look right there, couple of wins in conference opponents. They have been shut out, and that's what's going to be the key, is can they get going offensively against a superior team like Centennial SLP?
Yeah, shut out by a combined score of 16-0 by 3 of the top 7 ranked teams in the state right now. Those rankings you saw, according to the current Let's Play Hockey rankings, the coaches poll.
And you talk to observers, Matt, and there's really a gulf between the top 6 or 7 teams and everybody else. So there's no shame in that. But obviously Blaine, they're going to need a little puck luck tonight to pull the upset on the road in conference play.
Centennial SLP fall into that camp as the 8th ranked team in the state. So they are really good, really high powered offense. They've got a good netminder in Gross, but like you hear from just a lot of coaches and evaluators, right? Centennial SLP are probably one of the best teams just outside that group of the top tier.
Yeah, the best of the rest.
Shot in through some traffic. Gross made the save, still trying to cover that loose puck off to the side of the net. Eventually, the ref loses sight of it. Macy Jansen flipped in the initial backhander. And Gross, maybe a little dialogue with the official of like, hey, could you bring the whistle a little sooner when you lose sight of the puck there?
Yeah, they were jamming at it, but great job by our defenders to kind of surround the Bengals that were in front of her.
And that shot tracked a little more comfortably through some traffic on the effort from Bella Brady, speared by Gross.
And when we talk about the top 6 or 7 teams, who do we mean? Well, we mean the likes of Gentry Academy and Andover, Minnetonka, Edina, those kind of teams. But no shame, as that had to be saved off a redirection from her own teammate in Katie Ball. But a nice job by Gross to be square to it.
Nice battle there behind the net. Cougars come out with it, able to link it up ahead now to Lillian Renslow. The freshman steams in. Bella Brady with a key poke check, taking it away for Blaine. Centennial SLP feel like on a good night, I mean, they can contend with some of those top tier teams. Just a couple of weeks ago, they faced Gentry at the end of last year. In fact, in the 28th in a holiday tournament, they were leading now second-ranked Gentry 4-3 at the end of 2. Ended up letting in 4 third-period goals and lost to the Stars 7-4 in that one. So there is a little bit of a gap between that top-tier group of 6 or 7. Centennial SLP not far behind, however, and they showed that they've almost, not quite, closed out a win against one of those elite squads. Face off by O'Hara. She initially had it. Cougars will control. This is the future Golden Gopher, Lauren O'Hara, in behind. Lays it off to Kuhlenkamp. And again, really good work by those Bengal blue liners to begin the night. That time it was Taylor Olson tracking back one of the forwards. Worked it away out of possession for the moment. Kendall Dean takes it up, gets it back out to neutral ice, right back to O'Hara, who chips it into Chase. Bella Brady, the sophomore for Blaine, latches onto it first. Here's still Brady with it. She will clear it out, and you see this from Blaine. They don't get the icing that time as it's waved off and picked up. But they play a very simple, no-nonsense game. And if they have an opportunity to clear it out of danger, they don't mind taking a few icings. O'Hara fires a shot, kick save made by Hansen out to the half wall.
Her technique, her form is just so good right there. Going down butterfly style, kick save to deny O'Hara.
O'Hara off the deflection, sauces it up ahead, glove down. Oh, an effort by O'Hearn. What a pass between O'Hara and O'Hearn, nearly linking up. O'Hearn laid it down with the glove on the sauce pass from O'Hara. Beautifully done, nearly for the goal. 5:39 left to go in this first period as it's intercepted by Bucciaconi. Sent into the wall and cleared out here by Blaine. It's with Grace Lager. Lager will wheel it back in the neutral zone, clips it off the skate of one of the Bengals, and this will be swallowed up and taken out by Schaefer. Schaefer is blocked at the blue line. Hemmer comes up with it. Hemmer centers, and turning and trying to get that shot off was Lane, the 8th grader. 5 goals, 16 assists in the season for number 8 as Macy Jansen is sent to the ice in front of the Cougar bench before sending it in deep for a dump and chase. So we got 5 minutes left to go. Chipped up into the Cougar bench here. Shots right now even in the game at 6-6. This was just terrific stuff between two great players linking up.
What creativity from O'Hara to just think, well, I can't thread a pass through, but maybe if I lift it over the defense, something can happen. And that's just the kind of chemistry that you have between Lauren O'Hara and Ella O'Hearn, 2 seniors on the top line for the Cougars.
Alexis Larson winning the face-off draw for Centennial. Had it pinned up against the boards. Cleared out by Thompson. Nice Hedman pass to get it up to Callie Cody. Cody tries to center, and it was tipped on net by Bella Brady, one of Hansen's own defensemen. She swallows it up to cover. Brady just trying to intercept a centering pass. Tipped it on net. A save by Hansen, who eventually covered out of the scrum.
Yeah, we'll see this pass here. A good sprawling stop by Brady, but ultimately a lot of traffic into Hansen's kitchen. And it's right there. You see at the top of the crease, and she pounces on it. Again, held off by her defenders. So, again, getting pucks to the net, and that's all you can do against a great goaltender. Try to get traffic in front of her eyes, not let her get clear sight lines to make those saves.
Haley Hansen, captain for Blaine, and we talked about Minnesota State Mankato commit in net. She is making, already in her career, her 9th start against Centennial SLP. You think about that, a career going back now parts of 5 varsity seasons, thrown in front between the circles. And out of danger for the moment is New Power. Keeps it working along the boards for Centennial SLP. She's 3-5 with a save percentage above 90 and has made over 200 saves just against this team now in her high school career. Think about that. A very important piece in the Blaine Centennial rivalry. Centered out in front and not able to quite snap that shot off was Ella O'Hearn, who now fights for it aggressively in the forecheck in the neutral zone, wins it back for Centennial. Carried in by Jarpie. She had it nicked off by Jansen, who goes with a little 1-2 there. And it's up ahead to O'Hearn. O'Hearn fires the shot, kick, save Hansen, and again directing it out of the danger area with the save harmlessly out to the corner. Trying to switch onto her backhand was O'Hara, never able to fire the shot off. New Power has space, threw it in front, hoping for a deflection as it was ushered wide by Kuhlenkamp. That was Ella O'Hearn going down to the ice on a hit. O'Hara wanted a call going her way, steered aside on another save from Hansen as Lager now tries to dig it in deep. 2:40 left to go. Stopped by New Power. O'Hara picks it up, fires from the high slot. Another save from Hansen. The 9th shot on target by Centennial here this period. Lager drops it off to one of the reinforcements joining into the fold from the bench. And it's thrown in front. Oh, saved by Hansen as that was fired in from Lager on a centering feed in from behind the goal. I think just got a piece of that to send it wide. And finally, Blaine, after a long shift, able to clear it for icing. They're happy to take the defensive zone face-off to bring some fresh legs on.
Centennial SLP just buzzing in the offensive zone as we take a look at some of Haley Hansen's career milestones. More than 3,000 saves, 23 shutouts, a 3-time All-Stater. Right, you know, hoping for a 4-time selection. She was preseason All-Metro in the Star Tribune, and she has earned every accolade that she's had in her illustrious career in a Bengals uniform.
Listed at about 5'4", maybe 5'5" on a good day. She does not have that typical Division I size that fills up the net, Bill, but I mean does just about everything else well, and she has earned everything on her way up to stardom at the high school level.
So because she doesn't have that size, you know that she has to have really good technique and really, really smart, sound positioning as a goaltender to make up for her lack of size.
Hemmer feeds it out in front. Another big one from Hansen as she's standing on her head early, that time stoning the 8th grader J.C. Blaine. Welcome to high school hockey. As she spins around, tries to center it. Hemmer can't fire the shot on. And it's held in by Brooke Euland as the Cougars were making some changes. Gives the chance for the Bengals to clear it out and counter with some changes of fresh skaters of their own.
Matt, at one point shots were 6 apiece. Now it's 12-6 Centennial SLP. Just in the last couple minutes, they have really started peppering that Blaine Bengal net. And they've had some really quality chances as well. Point-blank opportunities that Hansen has stoned.
We're into the final minute now of the first. Still a scoreless game between Blaine and Centennial here in North Metro TV as Macy Jansen tries to skate it out from behind the red line. Leaked it up ahead for a chase. It's going to be easily won by Katie Ball as bearing down on her was Cece Ledeen. They link it up ahead to Renslow, who carried it in offside. So a stoppage with 24 seconds left to go in this scoreless game still in the first.
Yeah, Haley Hansen has been outstanding, and she's the reason that this game is still scoreless. But Centennial, Spring Lake Park, they just got to keep going at it because they're getting quality chances, and you have to feel like eventually one of those will go in.
Here it's taken in deep by O'Hearn on the forecheck win. Tries to slip it off to O'Hara. He's stick in by the Bengals to try to get it out for the moment. Maya Gunter got it up to the scores table. It was sent back into O'Hara, but she had entered the zone first, so stoppage with 8 seconds left to go. Hansen has started just about every minute in net this season, all but 8 minutes and 10 seconds of it in a blowout loss at Hill Murray when she was briefly relieved by the sophomore Mandy Larson. She sees a ton of shots. We mentioned she is one of the top 10 save percentages in the state, and she's faced way more shots than almost everybody else on the list. Gross covers takes us to the end of the first period where, because of some terrific saves from number 33, we are still scoreless between the Cup-Roll rivals here on North Metro TV.
Come to Ham Lake and see how good life can be. Conveniently located only 20 miles north of the Twin Cities on Highway 65, yet Ham Lake has kept its rural charm. Residents of Ham Lake enjoy 1-acre minimum lots, giving you space to live with abundant natural green spaces and recreational activities like boating, fishing, golf, disc golf, camping and playgrounds, and tons of seasonal fun all year round. Ham Lake is home to one of the top school districts with consistent high scores in standardized testing and community ratings. Ham Lake is a business-friendly city and willing to work with businesses and developers of all sizes. Whether you are just starting out or looking to grow, Ham Lake has the business opportunities you've been waiting for. Life in Ham Lake moves a little slower, and that's the way we like it. Ham Lake offers space to live, to grow, and space to relax. Come visit Ham Lake and see for yourself what you are missing. Ham Lake is convenient country living.
Back at the Centennial Sports Arena for the start of the second period, where we've got a tie hockey game still knotted up at zeros between Blaine and Centennial Spring Lake Park, and a cat clash here to bring you on North Metro TV. It was an entertaining first period of action as Blaine and Centennial went back and forth in the early goings. Blaine had their attempts and tested Caitlin Gross early on. Haley Hansen standing tall as well, too, for Blaine. This was one of the better scoring chances that the Bengals had. Gross reaching around to make the save. Hansen stood tall, stopping all 12 of the shots she faced, including a sauced pass up ahead from O'Hara, looking for O'Hearn. And ultimately, this would turn into the Haley Hansen show late, Bill, as Hansen ended up making 6 saves in a row when Centennial started to control the game late.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it was pretty back and forth for much of the game. And at first, Centennial SLP had a lot of zone time, but not a lot of shots on goal. But then they started to really assert themselves. Some beautiful passages of play between their wings. And second period, as we see in this graphic right there, is when Centennial really dominates. They come out of the first intermission, make some adjustments, and they've dominated the second period. And that's what they're going to have to do against Haley Hansen with her between the pipes.
And the 28 goals scored, the most in any period this season for CSLP, and the 9 goals allowed, the fewest of any period for Sean Moline's side this year.
We saw
underway in the second.
Recently on North Metro TV. They were down 3-1 to Osseo Park Center, scored 4 in the second to take control of the game, including 1 as time expired, and that was the difference. They went on to win 6-3.
Lauren O'Hara coming back, the centerman, to take it out now and lead the rush for the Cougars. O'Hara throws a backhander just to the very edge of that blue paint. She was trying to pick out Ella O'Hearn, thrown in for the point by Ball, saved from Hansen, wrap-around attempt coming from Kuhlenkamp, who's walled off by Hansen, who stacks the pads, rolling onto her backside over to the left of goal.
I mean, Haley Hansen just making every kind of possible save you can imagine here, and she just does a tremendous job. You see it trickling past the side of her net, but she scrambles over and shuts down the short side stuff attempt. Just being tremendous as far as keeping her team in this hockey game.
Cougars came out with it after the draw. Kuhlenkamp trying to get it in front. O'Hara finds it between her skates, trying to switch back to the forehand. She had it jostled free by Grace Chapman, one of the Bengal wingers, closing her out. And now Blaine still trying to carve it out of their own zone. Schaefer sent down to the ice on a hip check. Still a scrum for it in behind the net. Kuhlenkamp with possession, down to her knees, tossed it away. And it's the Bengals breaking it out as they try to chip it ahead for the junior Grace Chapman. He's going to be bodied off the puck by Ellie Newpower. Then Staples Newpower up against the boards. Bengals come in with an extra skater. Oh, sliced it in front for Caitlin Gross. Didn't need to make a save as it was cleared out toward the corner. Now Newpower on the far side wall. Able to skip it up ahead to Lager. She sends it back out to the neutral zone. Skipped by Nowicki momentarily, up to O'Hara, tries to cut inside, and a big poke check standing tall. O'Hara stays with it, and she'll just dump it off into the corner as she'll hit the bench for a change.
You know, it's not just that Haley Hansen needs to continue to make good saves, but it's that her defense needs to continue to force players wide and make sure that the attackers for Centennial SLP aren't getting quality chances, aren't getting good looks at the goal. As we take a look at Lauren O'Hara, we're a leader of this team, and we've already seen her make a mark on this game. A couple fantastic chances that Haley Hansen was equal to.
Hand pass was the call, bringing it back here for a defensive zone faceoff. O'Hara on the bench. The second unit of forwards, centered by Hemmer, are out on the ice here to try to take it away now for Centennial. That was Hemmer trying to work it off the wall. Spun back to Lager, and now Annabelle Buccicconi. She will pull it out wide left, shot it off the skate of Bella Brady. Stays with the Cougars as they try to get it in deep. 14.5 minutes left to play now in the second. Scooted up by Lager. Oh, just kind of slipped one through, and it was kicked aside and a save from Hansen. And she was trying to direct it to Lane, the winger opposite her on that second line for the Cougars. Held in by Bucciaconi, but only for the moment. It is sprung ahead and just dumped in by Nowicki for a change for the Bengals. Delayed penalty coming up here as one of the Cougars was checked down, and they are going to send one of the Bengals into the box after they took down number 12 in white for Centennial, and the hit drawing the ire of the officials there.
Yeah, a clear penalty as Euland goes crashing hard into the boards. Thankfully, she's okay, but Centennial goes on the power play tonight. First penalty taken by either team tonight.
Grayson Knowles will sit in the box for the Bengals. Penalty comes with just inside 14 minutes left to go here in this contest. First special teams chance for either team as O'Hara ripped his shot. That took a deflection on its way and missed wide. Trip on Knowles is the call, putting Centennial's potent power play out on the ice for the first time here tonight. Walked in by Lager. She'll skate it in around the net. Dropped off here for O'Hara. Little one-touch pass back to her from O'Hearn. O'Hara tries to square it across to the opposite circle. Kuhlenkamp drops it off to Ball. Here's Kuhlenkamp firing a shot. Saved by Hansen as it's picked up by Lauren O'Hara on the far side. Power play for the Cougars, converting at a 29% clip. The kill for Blaine at 79% as Hansen makes a glove save. The Bengals 8th out of 10 teams in the Northwest Suburban in penalty killing, and Centennial are 2nd in the conference and 7th in all of Class AA with their 29% power play.
Matt, how many 8th graders would act in the middle as the sort of the pivot on the power play? Grace Lager does just that, has the poise, the patience, and the hockey IQ to know exactly where to be on the ice.
Chat Lane trying to center it in front, and it eventually slips through to Hansen. Lager might have just got a piece of that as kind of that centering player on the power play. Relatively comfortable save for Hansen, who sprung on it quick. We got less than 13 minutes to go and 58 seconds on this Centennial SLP power play.
When the puck is up at the point, she acts as sort of the screen, but then when it's down low, she makes herself available for a pass.
Here's Kuhlenkamp. Took a little bit off her shot and a stick in from the captain, Kendall Dean. They work it back around to Ball. Now O'Hara with space between the circles. Fires a shot, snared by Hansen. Oh, that's too much time and space for that player. O'Hara just gliding into the slot, which looked like a certain goal the way she had it lined up.
Oh, the wrister. And there were plenty of bodies in front of Haley Hansen. Somehow she saw it through traffic and snagged the loose puck that was rising with some heat off the stick of O'Hara.
Rung around the boards, and will get by New Power as the Bengals are able to clear it. And they will keep that same PK unit out on the ice as it is advanced up ahead by New Power. Dump back into the Bengals as they try to prevent the Cougars from setting up that power play for the final 20 seconds with the skater advantage.
Grace Chapman got her stick on the ice and deflected that pass, and now she's forechecking ferociously shorthanded.
Thompson able to wheel it off. Larson played it out up ahead to O'Hearn. O'Hearn cuts inside. O'Hearn has it nicked off her stick as sweeping into the rescue was the Bengals. And both teams are back at full strength. Far side wall, Thompson was kicking at it. Blaine find themselves into some space up ahead. Megan Wallen sends it in deep for the Bengals. Knowles going down to the ice after returning to get the Bengals back at even strength. Here's Knowles with it. She's got 7 goals, 9 assists on the season. Stepping in was Jarpie. She's tripped from behind. Delayed penalty here going to go against the Cougars. That was Hemmer who got tripped up by one of the Bengals. She'll send it in, and the play is whistled dead as one of the Bengals are headed to the box for what will be the second power play of the night for Centennial.
Yeah, and probably a decent penalty to take, but Noelle Hemmer had a potential breakaway there as she was threatening to put all kinds of pressure. And once again, it is Grayson Knowles taking her second penalty of the period to put the Cougars back on the power play.
Here it's with Ball, who steers a shot, skipping in on Hansen, secures it for the save. Katie Ball, a freshman defenseman with 5 goals, 6 assists on the year. She moved back from the forward spot, where she mostly played last season as an 8th grader for Centennial SLP, and running the point right now in the power play for the Cougars. Camp works it in deep for J.C. Blaine down low. Here's O'Hara. Her shot goes wide. And it's played out the back from Camp to Ball. Sets up O'Hara again, top of the circle, far side to Ball. Works it down low. Camp with a tough angle shot. O'Hara on the rebound. Her shot got blocked wide. Minute and 20 seconds now in this Cougar power play. She'll get out to Ball. Nice job to close it down on the wall. Finds Camp. O'Hara thought about the one-timer, lines it up instead, and it clips off the stick and up into the netting for a stoppage here.
And with Grayson Knowles taking those couple penalties, just not moving her feet quickly enough. Noelle Hemmer got to the puck first in neutral zone ice, and Hemmer, second line center, and a very underrated player for this Centennial team. Brother Brendan played for the Centennial boys team last year, and Noelle Hemmer, 2 goals against Park Center Osseo in a game we had on North Metro, and she's just a real quality player, knows where to be at all times and takes advantage.
Here's O'Hara spinning in from the half wall, stuffing it into the chest to Hansen, who makes another save, stopping us with 10:03 to play in the second. 45 seconds left to go as the barrage from the Cougars continues. They outshot Blaine 12-6 in that first period. The Bengals still do not have a shot on goal since about midway through that first period, and the shots now favoring the Cougars 21-6.
Yeah, they've had the last 15 shots of this hockey game, and the ice right now, Matt, very much tilted in the favor of Centennial SLP.
Ella O'Hearn slides up to the dot to take it for the Cougars. Where's the assistant captain's A on her jersey? Here's it's worked inside by Hemmer. Tries to switch to the forehand. Off to the side. O'Hearn takes a couple of whacks at it. Throws it through the crease, and it's cleared out of there by the Bengals. 24 seconds left to go on the penalty kill for Blaine.
Bengals living extremely dangerously right now. Hansen doing everything she can to keep this a scoreless game.
Here comes Alexis Larson. Sophomore walking it in for Centennial SLP. Backhander off the side of the cage. And it's in deep. Cleared and rung around the boards, and more importantly out of the zone for Blaine as both teams return to full strength. And the Bengals have killed off 2 all-important penalties here on infractions going against Grayson Knowles, their talented top-line center. Here it is to Hemmer. She tries to wheel into the zone. She is bodied off the puck by Macy Jansen, who tried to spring the counterattack going the other way. She was looking for CC Ledeen. Hemmer swung it in deep. And the Bengals still with it, as Dean will connect it to Jansen. The 2 co-captains linking up. They clip it up ahead to Grace Chapman, who will pull it out wide. Reinforcements still coming on for Blaine. Chapman gets it in deep. And the Bengals hold it at the blue line once again with Jansen. Off to Olsen, cleared it out to center ice. Important step up by Schaefer. Here comes Lauren O'Hara. Lines up a shot and scores. Lauren O'Hara breaks our scoreless deadlock with 8:23 left to go in the second on her 27th of the season.
2-on-1 for Centennial SLP. She could have passed it across. Instead, she fired it home from the left dot. And Haley Hansen may have had no screen in front of her, but when you've got a shot as powerful as Lauren O'Hara's, you're going to make no mistake. It took them 24 shots, but they finally got their first goal.
It's her 5th straight game with a points. 5 goals in the last 2 games, including after scoring 4 on Thursday in a 6-0 win against Cretin-Durham Hall. And once Lauren O'Hara starts to get going, she usually does not stop. 7 multi-goal games this year, including 3 hat tricks, including that 4-goal outburst the other night against CDH.
No assists on that play, so an unassisted goal for Lauren O'Hara, and you figured it was going to be the stars that came to shine tonight, and the 2 players that we previewed are making the difference right now. Hansen keeping her team in this hockey game, and O'Hara giving her team the lift they needed. And Hansen has now stopped 23 of 24 shots, but honestly, it's like we said, they've had the last 18 shots. Blaine has really struggled to find its footing offensively ever since the midway point of the first period.
And being a couple of times the penalty kill has not helped that, although it came as an even strength goal. Bengals starting to get just grinded down by this physical Centennial SLP team working shorthanded. Here's Jarpie picking it up in the defensive end, sliding along the woodwork to Newpower, sends it right back to Jarpie. Senior having a nice season in the back line, as it'll be sent in ahead for Lauren O'Hara to chase after. Hansen comes out to play it, and playing it confidently with the paddle to break it out of the defensive end.
Didn't want to face another Lauren O'Hara shot from the left side, so she did what she had to do to make a play on the puck.
O'Hara sends it in deep, paddled aside by Hansen to leave it for a teammate to pick up. Collected in front of the Centennial bench, leaks out to Bella Brady. She will spring it ahead. Gross with some action. Her first shot faced here since very early in the first period. That's just the 7th shot on target now for Blaine, who trail it 1-0 on Lauren O'Hara's 27th goal of the season. Here is Blaine, steers it, deflected off a couple of bodies on its way to Hansen, who tracked it all the way off the body of her co-captain Dean, and eventually securing it for the Bengals save.
Kuhlenkamp and O'Hara were kind of bearing down on her net, as you see, but it actually, like you said, deflects off Kendall Dean right to Haley Hansen, and she's just always got to look alive when the puck's anywhere near her net. He's taking some funny bounces tonight.
Taylor Olson tried to jam it up the boards for the Bengals. Once again held in by Centennial. Brooke Euland rung it back in deep, centered, but intercepted by Taylor Olson, who couldn't clear it out of the zone. Shot in from the half wall by Bucciaconi. Bounced away from Bucciaconi by Olson, trying to chase it up ahead. Megan Wallen, she'll whack a stick at it and clear it, icing against the Bengals with 5:37 to play here in the second.
Yeah, and Blaine is just having a tough time right now, Matt, possessing the puck. Honestly, Centennial is just seemingly a step faster and a little bit more physical as well, and they are kind of imposing their will here in the second period.
Bengals have competed with some of the best in the state. We mentioned it in the first period, 2-3 against top 20 ranked teams. O'Hara, her shot, I don't know if Hansen got a piece of that. Bodies in front, she did, as she gets a fist bump from Bella Brady, who was kind of screening her defenseman in front. What a save. I don't know how Hansen saw this one.
I think it may have hit a stick in front. It was hard to tell, but she had that upper left side picked out wide open. And somehow it stayed out. Blaine defensively still doing. Was it a blocker save?
I think it got a piece of Hansen's paddle at the end of the stick.
All right, yeah, there were a couple sticks in the way, but boy, O'Hara's having some golden chances tonight.
Here's Larson, sprung up ahead. Oh, beautiful. Ooh. Bar down, top corner. Alexis Larson sprung in the breakaway, makes it 2-0 Cougs.
Unbelievable from the sophomore. As she just gets a step down the right wing and could not have paced it any better. So Hansen's been beat tonight, but it's by 2 outstanding goals for this Centennial SLP team. That's from a defenseman. Alexis Larson, her 3rd goal of the season, and none prettier that she scored this season than that one.
They get the flogging mollies rocking here in Centennial. Feels a little bit more appropriate when the Shamrock line of O'Hara and O'Hearn score, but they'll take it as Alexis Larson bags the second of the game for Centennial, her third of the season. Great headman pass up ahead by Anna Jarpy as well, too, the senior who gets the assist. And with 4:48 left to go, Cougars control by a 2-goal lead for the first time.
And, you know, for all the traffic that the Cougars have gotten in front of Hanson tonight, it's just been two perfectly placed shots that have beaten the All-State netminder.
Well, thrown out in front as it was Thompson, who then collects it up with a point, sends it in deep. This is O'Hearn. Drops it off for Thompson. Far side half wall, chipped ahead. But once again, Blaine only able to race it out for a change. Oh, pulling back is Blaine as she tried to toe drag her way to a shot. Then tried to center it out in front where the Bengals got to it first with Kendall Dean. It is out wide to Chapman. Nice job to stay with the play. Spin around ball and get it up to the half wall for the Bengals. She tries to center it on. And the Bengals get the cycle going here. Calling for the pass. Oh, up at the top at the blue line. And now Blaine will settle into at least an extended stay of possession here in the offensive zone as they get it out wide to Macy Jansen, working it into the corner. Taken by O'Hearn, scoots it along the wall to Ball. She'll spin it out back to neutral ice. It was intercepted by Schaefer, who dumps it back in. Both teams making line changes as this will be raced and collected by Bucciaconi in her own defensive end. Bucciaconi, dangerous pass. It did get through off the stick of Jansen to O'Hara on to Hemmer, and she has it swept aside wide of the stick of Bella Brady. Brady trying to clear it. Forecheck in from O'Hara, wins it back for the Cougars. Drops it off on the half wall, trying to center it back to O'Hara. O'Hara lining up a shot and fires it right into Haley Hansen's mitts.
Shots in this period now 17-1. As you see, O'Hara just on fire, and the team in general averaging 4 goals a game. And look at what happened the last time they scored 100 goals in a season, Matt.
That was, of course, a notable state tournament run by Centennial. Runners-up at state, where they lost to Edina in the championship game at the X. But what a season that was. Last time the Cougars got to 100 goals by the end of the regular season. Oh, as that one is thrown in front, another kick save from Hansen. That team that finished runners-up to the Hornets added 16 more goals through sections and through the state tournament, but finished with just over 100 at the end of the regular season. The Cougars, the 12th highest scoring team in Class AA entering play tonight, are on pace to reach the century mark for the first time.
And we talked about their second period, now 30-9 for the season in second period scoring as they continue that middle frame domination.
Nowicki finding it and was able to try to hold it at that blue line, but it leaked back out to the neutral zone. So offside whistle against the Bengals here. You see the shots heavily slanted towards the Cougars. Bengals have had just one here in this second period, and it was launched in all the way from the neutral zone by Jansen. So not much in the way of scoring chances, and not much for Caitlin Gross to do back there in net for Centennial lately.
Pretty amazing when you consider especially when you consider they've had 24 of the last 25 shots on goal.
One off the wall, shot on target that time. Grayson Knowles was stepping in. Knowles has been the hot hand in the scoring department lately for the Bengals. 3 goals, 5 points in her last 4 games. But of course, the Bengals not able to generate much. Or maybe looking for number 12, the talented sophomore, to find something and get this game back within 1. Cleared off the glass, skipping past Jarpy. The clearance from Brady. He'll be whistled for icing. We got inside 2 to go.
And you know, Matt, we saw, as we take a look at the head coach for the Blaine Bengals, Steve Geider. He must be thinking, what must he be thinking right now? But we were talking about Chatelaine and Chatelaine in the fantastic toe drag attempt. You have to have supreme confidence and skill just even to attempt that, and let alone be, you know, as a middle schooler. So we've just seen such impressive displays tonight from the youngsters of Centennial, Bucciaconi and Chatelaine.
Here's
Very
O'Hearn.
impressive.
Oh, weaving her way into the zone. Blocker side save from Hansen to steer that one aside. That was nearly a terrific chance for the senior Ella O'Hearn. who is making a name for herself in her Centennial career. 10 goals in the season, her 4th varsity season, where she now has over 50 points in her Centennial career. But Haley Hansen, who's got over 3,000 saves in her Blaine career, stood tall to make that stop.
I didn't know if you meant tonight or in her career, because she has faced a lot of rubber here in this hockey game.
That has been the case coming into the night. Over 490 shots. She had faced 495 shots on target through the Bengals' first 18 games. 31 here tonight, of which she stopped. I think we said it was 24 in a row to begin the game, 22 maybe to open up the night. We're inside the final minute of this second period. Cougars have scored twice in this frame, once from O'Hara unassisted to get him on the board with 8:23 to go, and then Larson on a feed from Jarpie on a breakaway with about 5 minutes left in this period.
And only outstanding, perfectly placed shots. That's all that's beaten Haley Hansen tonight. So she's certainly done her part, but this Blaine offense has just not had much going for it, especially after that first part of the early first period.
Here's Lane walking it in for the Cougars. Tried to steer one in front. Not a bad idea on the centering pass. It was deflected out and cleared by the Bengals in the meantime. Important interception by Maya Gunter. One player stays in for the Bengals here, leading things on the forecheck, as Chapman couldn't wedge it out in front. Grayson Knowles fighting for it. Really tough along the wall. Horn will sound. End of the second period. The Cougars strike twice in the frame to beat Haley Hansen and lead it 2-0 in this rivalry contest here on North Metro TV. Cougars up by a deuce as we step aside.
Wash your hands. Scrub it while you sing this song. Wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
Back on for the start of the third period here at the Centennial Sports Arena. The energy's up in the building. The Cougars light the lamp twice. They're loving the 2010 World Cup soundtrack here in Circle Pines tonight. I'm here for it. So are those kids. Second period highlights. 2 early penalties taken by Grayson Knowles of the Bengals provided some great chances for the Cougars, Bill. They didn't score on either of those 2 power plays, but it felt like that was a momentum shifter in the game.
Yeah, it really tilted the ice in favor of the Cougars, and then Lauren O'Hara did what she does. Goal number 27 of the season. And then Alexis Larson picking out the top corner, and just 2 unsavable shots for Haley Hansen. And that's how we stand at 2-0 as we start the third period.
Haley Hansen, right, you said it a couple of times during the period, they basically had to put the puck perfectly top cornered a couple of times to beat her. You saw O'Hara roofing one high to try to get it past her to add a third later in the period. Centennial SLP absolutely dominating the pace of the game. Officially in the book, outshot the Bengals 20-1 in that second period as Ball ushers Jansen out wide, took her down, and we're going to have a penalty here, a trip go against the Cougars. And this will be a great opportunity here as Katie Ball is going to go for the trip for Blaine to try to get back into this game.
Yeah, first Bengals penalty. First Bengals power play, I should say, of the game, and a real opportunity for them to get back in this hockey game.
Ball now leads the Cougars with 14 penalty minutes on the season, and what has been a really effective PK unit for the Cougars. 88% on the season. It's the 10th best mark in Class AA, second in Northwest Suburban. The power play in the meantime for the Bengals, only 4 of 39, 10% in the season. And Blaine are trying to shake out of an 0 for their last 15 with a skater advantage over the course of the last 8 games.
Yeah, that's trending in the wrong direction, especially for a team that struggles to score goals like the Bengals do.
And need to start converting in some of those power play opportunities as Hansen will come out to play it with the paddle. Leaves it off here for Grayson Knowles. Sophomore skates it up, scoots it off the wall, looking for Brady. Stepping in to intercept instead is Alexis Larson, one of the 2 goal scorers for Centennial last period. She's bodied off by a couple of Bengals who now try to break it out on the power play. Referee coming in to break up that scrum back there. And a shot blocked off the stick of Taylor Olson. Deflects back to Ledeen. She tried to stuff it home. It was directed in behind the net. Here as it's held at the line by Maya Gunter of the Bengals. She will swing it in. That was in fact not Gunter, but number 18, Kendall Dean. And now it's out to CC Ledeen. Ledeen off of Chatelain's stick. 17 seconds only on this Blaine power play. Haven't really gotten to set it up much yet. Chatelain coming in and harassing on the forecheck. They break it back out. Bengals worked it into the zone by Nowicki. Deflected back and batted around by Gunter. It's cleared as the Cougars are back at full strength.
Great job by Bucciaconi, poke checking it away a couple times on that last few seconds of that power play.
Walking it in and firing it. Hannah Thompson had it saved by Hansen. Bengals able to clear. Hammered off the boards just below the Bengal bench. Bucciaconi wheeled back in a little bit too soon. Offside whistle here against the Cougars. Bengals looked a little bit short-handed on that power play a second ago. They had that kind of scuffle behind the net that got broken up. Sean Moline looks on with his team dodging a bullet on the penalty kill, and still up 2-0 here in a tight one with 14 minutes left to play. Oh, slipped out in front. What a save from Hansen, sliding across to deny a golden opportunity from Tegan. Kuhlenkamp makes a second save on a shot from Kuhlenkamp, who sent it in around the boards. And Blaine still not able to get it out of the zone. Ball fired it in from the point. Hansen cleared it out. Wide open net. Oh, off the glove of Hansen on a backhanded flip from O'Hearn. Oh my goodness. Hansen standing on her head. here in the third period. Here's Newpower, fires it in. Another pad save, kicked away by Hansen, and it's cleared out where Jarpie will chase it down for Centennial.
Oh, wow, the right pads of Haley Hansen tonight has made some wonderful saves. Can't wait to watch the replays. 4 shots on goal, and every single save that Hansen has made in this period has been unbelievable.
Third line out for the Cougars as Taylor Olson deflects it in. Gross able to sweep it aside after it bounced off one of the skaters in white and cleared back to her. Here's Katie Ball, the freshman, taking it up from the blue line, and she is worked in by Ledeen, paddled aside by Hansen, thrown back out in front. Another one whacked out of there by Haley Hansen on another save. Here's Thompson with it for the Cougars. Thompson skates it in left wing, drop pass for O'Hara. O'Hara lines it up, can't fire it through. Bella Brady with a big shot block. She was trying to clear it out for the Bengals. That is Brady chipping it up. And now the rush led by Kendall Dean. Ball got the stick in there, got it back to O'Hara, who clips it in to the offensive zone.
O'Hara is so tall, and that reach with the stick is just so hard to deal with.
Chapman off the stick of Hansen. And this one will be chased down once again by the Cougars. Brooke Hewland left it off to the side of the net for O'Hearn. And it is launched out end-to-end by Bucciacone. Swung back in by Brady, who gets it in deep for her opposite number, Annabelle Bucciacone, to pick it up again. Inside 12 minutes left to go. Bucciacone taking a check, and they're going to have a tripping penalty here coming up, as this will send one of the Bengals to the box on that trip of Bucciacone by Ledeen.
And the saves here by Haley Hansen. You see her sprawling for that one, and then another one just turned aside, diving, and she has to scramble back into her crease to make another save, that time with the glove. So wonderful job by Haley Hansen as CC Ledeen sits in the box for the next 2 minutes.
A trip on Ledeen sets up another power play opportunity for the Cougars. They were 0 for 2 in that second period. Only 2 chances so far tonight. Lager working it in down low. The middle schooler drops it off for the senior. O'Hara onto Ball. Ball down low. Lager tries to steer one in front for Chatelaine. It'll deflect off the half wall of the future gopher O'Hara. She finds Camp. Oh, O'Hara hit the pipe as she fired that one, nearly her third. Grayson Knowles trying to lead it on the rush the other way, able to tip it in as it's sent back in by Gross. Knowles trying to dig it out as she battles with O'Hara now, and Knowles will peel out as O'Hara, the captain for Centennial, settles it down.
Brilliant overlap there to get O'Hara the opportunity to walk right into the right dot and fire it. Ultimately, though, the iron unkind.
50 seconds left to go now in this Centennial power play. Walked in by Chatelaine. She is directed out wide by the crafty senior Kendall Dean. Steady defenseman for the Bengals. Fired in by Ball. Save from Hansen. Big interception out off to the side of the crease as it's cleared by the Bengals. Getting in front to intercept that one was Grace Chapman. Ball will pick it up now for the Cougars.
Chapman with a desperate intervention. The side of the net was open, but Chapman's stick got in the way before it got to the Cougar attacker on the near side.
Newpower down the right wing, bodied up by Jansen. And Jansen sends her colliding into the boards. Kept it moving up along that wall. Stepping up was Hannah Thompson, now with it for the Cougars. Thompson wheels it out to the half wall, near side, lays it off. That is a return to even strength now as the Bengals skater comes back onto the ice, saved by Hansen. Thrown back out in front. O'Hearn fires a shot, saved through traffic again by Hansen. She's stopped nearly 40 shots now in the night, saving 36 of 38. They've got it up on the board. O'Hearn was turned away, trying to make a move in from the corner. Thompson picks it up in the neutral zone and finds O'Hearn, collecting it back in the neutral zone. She was tied up with CC Ledeen, trying to force the turnover. Flipped ahead by Newpower. Bella Brady takes it away for Blaine. Still Brady with it, trying to weave through a couple of skaters. Bucciaconi steps up, and Brady is taken down, crashing into the boards. A trip as the whistle comes here, and I think they're going to get one of the Cougars here for the penalty as they'll send Annabelle Bucciaconi, number 2, to the box. And we've got Blaine going on the power play again.
Yeah, you see Bucciaconi just has it taken off her stick, and then in her efforts to recover it, it's a stick up in the legs of her opponent. I believe of the 6 penalties taken tonight, at least 4 of them have been of the tripping variety, so that's just not skating, it's not moving your feet once you've lost possession of the puck or if you're trying to keep up with an opponent.
2-minute power play opportunity for Blaine as they now try to shake out of an 0 for 17 skid. 0 for their last 17 on the power play to try to get back into this game. Cleared by Ball, not a good start. 20 seconds already expired, and the Bengals have to set back up shop here, get it out of their own end.
They scored an amazing shorthand goal, O'Hearn to O'Hara against Osseo Park Center, and not the team you want to try to break an over streak on the power play against.
Knowles to the corner to Olsen, tries to battle with it against Ball as it just gets past Bella Brady. Bengals have to touch back up at neutral ice. Jansen back to the sophomore Brady. 8:10 left to go in the period. 1:05 of the power play as Brady skates it in. Brady trying to make her move toward the cage, and Ball clears it up the boards again for Centennial. Here comes Jansen, leading point getter for the Bengals. 5 goals, 10 assists on the year, as that one is rifled in from a comfortable distance for Caitlin Gross. Able to turn it aside to the corner. Work back out to neutral ice. It is walked in offside clearly against Maya Gunter, the freshman. And the whistle will bring this back for a neutral zone puck drop.
Yeah, pretty amazing. I mean, let's give credit to the Centennial SLP defense tonight because, you know, Blaine is, what, 5th in conference. They're a good team, and they only just reached double digits on shots for the night. So the defensive effort for Centennial SLP maybe doesn't always get the credit that their explosive attack does, but they have really done a number tonight on this Blaine Bengals offense.
Last on a point by Jarpie, just wide after Hansen played it a little bit scarily behind her own net moments ago. Before that, here comes Gunter winning it a neutral ice. Drop pass, shot at by Olsen, misses the target. Bounce back out in front. Sitting on top of it is Gross, making the save to cover it. Great opportunity there for Caitlin Gross to showcase her stuff in net for the Cougars and keep this game at 2-0 as she's still hunting for her 3rd shutout of the season. And have another puck drop coming up to Gross's right. Ella O'Hearn to take it up against Knowles. Knowles will win the draw for the Bengals. Steered in on a shot from the point from Kendall Dean. Big save from Caitlin Gross. And look, I've never been a goalie, but that just has to be so hard to be a spectator for so long throughout this game and then come up with a couple of big stops to keep the Bengals from getting back into it.
Yeah, it requires a certain level of focus, right? You have to stay attuned despite maybe not having as much action all night as you're accustomed to.
Dean lined up a slapper. It had a little bit taken off of it on I think a skate that blocked it from Brooke Euland. And we pause with 6:30 left to go. Look at the upcoming schedule for Centennial SLP. They will finish the season with 5 on the road and some nice tests to get them ready for the Section 5 AA playoffs.
Yeah, there's no easy games in that road, but hard to believe we're just 5 games away from the end of the regular season. What a regular season it's been.
I saw Andover on the schedule, the 5th-ranked team in the state, coming up next. They are preparing themselves for, you would think, going to be a matchup with either Rogers or Maple Grove at some point. Centennial
or
SLP
both
in the mix, as might be your 2 teams on the way to a state tournament berth.
Yeah,
and that's a tough Section 5.
I fully expect them to see Rogers potentially again in the section semifinals. It was a classic last year where they had to come from behind to score 2 goals late and win it 2-1. And certainly them and Maple Grove have been really the two standard bearers since 2018. They've had such a good rivalry in the Section 5A, AA game, and expect to see more of that this year. I don't know why it wouldn't. And it was just kind of one of a weird scheduling quirk that they played in the first game of the season against the Crimson, one of their 2 games this year.
Centennial 14-4-1. They find themselves sitting at 3rd in the Northwest Suburban Conference standings. Their only losses, a pair of times to the now 7th-ranked team Maple Grove. They tied Rogers in the first matchup, beat them impressively 3-0 in a game that was played at Rogers just last week on Saturday. And that matchup with Andover will be their only meeting against the Huskies coming up next. I saw a couple of folks in a lot of Andover gear, maybe scouting ahead for that next matchup in Northwest Suburban Conference. Or maybe it's just a Husky super fan over there.
Well, they have to be pretty impressed with what they've seen tonight. Yeah, and only the brilliance of Haley Hansen has kept this from being what could have been easily a 5-0, 6-0 game.
5 minutes left to go in the contest. Still time. It doesn't feel like they've had enough good looks to feel super confident, but Blaine just looking for one moment to get back into this game. Hemmer's shot took a deflection in toward Hansen, made the save, and then walled that second one off as the junior centerman was trying to get in on the action. A couple of different whacks at it with his now 39 shots on target and 37 saves for the future Mankato Maverick, Haley Hansen.
I think Hansen saved that one actually onto the right post, which is pretty impressive. But Andover probably scouting not only upcoming opponent Centennial SLP, but also possible section opponent Blaine. And so multiple reasons for a potential Andover scout to be there tonight.
Olsen ripping that last one in on the save made by Caitlin Gross. Let's take a look at that Blaine schedule. Whereas Centennial are going to go on the road to finish the season, the Bengals get to settle in for 6 straight at beautiful Fogarty Arena to end the year.
Yeah, and they've got some tough ones as well. You look at Champlain Park, Coon Rapids, and Osseo Park Center. Those are not traditional powerhouses, but solid teams, not to mention the likes of East Ridge and Minnetonka.
Oh yeah, number 1 ranked Minnetonka as O'Hara went for a backhanded flip in on Hansen. Another big save from the senior netminder. Keeps the game within reach for the Bengals, down by 2. Now inside 4 minutes left to go in this third period. Matt Dean alongside Bill Hupp. Bringing you the action here on North Metro TV tonight. Reschedule of a game from earlier in the month. Lone rivalry contest meeting between Blaine and Centennial SLP. You talk about scheduling quirks. The fact that now 2 years in a row, the Cougars and the Bengals will play just once apiece. And we'll have a stoppage here with 3:21 left to go. Blaine won the only time these two teams faced off last year. It was a 2-1 win at Fogarty Arena, as they're going to get Macy Jansen with a trip to the box here for Blaine. 3:21 left to go in the period. These two teams have split the last 6 meetings that these two have played. I think that's going to be another trip. As she took down O'Hara, we've had about 4 or 5 tripping calls. The lion's share of the penalties here tonight, and a timeout coming here from the Blaine side of the bench, and Steve Guider as he tries to draw up something for the Bengals to get back into this game. Last season, so played just that one time. The teams have split the last 6 meetings, which includes a 2018 section final that the Cougars won to go to state, ended with that tremendous runner-up finish to Edina that year. And we have had a win by Blaine last year. The two teams split in the regular season both the 2 years prior to that.
Yeah, it's been a back and forth rivalry, but obviously this year, Blaine's got a pretty young team, pretty injured team right now. And what will they look like without Haley Hansen between the pipes next year? It'll be very interesting to see. And Centennial SLP got to be very excited with all the young talent coming through. Obviously, losing the likes of O'Hara, and O'Hearn is going to hurt. But you have so much talent in the pipeline that it's very exciting to see, what Sean Moline is building here now, entering in his 3rd season in charge of things for the Cougars.
Moline took the Cougars to state. What was his first season as the head coach? Now 4 times in school history for Centennial and Centennial SLP, and now their joint program history. Here's this one's going to be played aside by Caitlin Gross. Hasn't had a whole lot to do. 12 shots on target only for the Bengals in this game. 6 of them came in the first period. Kuhlenkamp drops it off. Ball across to O'Hara, working it on the power play. Kicked off the skate of Grayson Knowles, who got in front of the shot. Bengals, I mean, Hansen's played great. O'Hara's had quite a few of her shots stopped by blue bodies in front as well, too, before it's gotten through to Hansen as well tonight.
Yeah, they've hit a couple posts. You know, O'Hara's had shots blocked. She's had shots saved by Hansen. She could easily have a hat trick in this hockey game, but for the defensive brilliance.
Oh, speaking of which, there's O'Hara rifling in her second of the game.
And she still might get that hat trick, Matt. You never know. But Lauren O'Hara showing out in a rivalry game, and you'd expect nothing less.
A power play goal for Lauren O'Hara. She's now got 28 on the season, her 8th multi-goal game of the year. And O'Hara, 10 of her now nearly 30 goals in the season have come for the Cougars when they've been a skater up.
And yet again, another unsavable shot for Haley Hansen, and as O'Hara just put it in a perfect place and just snapped off. That's a wicked wrister if I've ever seen one. And Centennial with a comfortable 3-0 lead.
They will get the 2 8th graders, Blaine and Lager, for the assists on the O'Hara goal, her second of the night. And we're going to see, again, Alexis Larson headed to the penalty box here for Centennial. Blaine are going to take a timeout here with Steve Guider. Alongside Bill Hupp, Matt Dean here on North Metro TV. We got Ted LaRue directing things from the truck here. Our terrific crew on North Metro TV. A second goal from Lauren O'Hara, just about putting this one out of reach as we are inside the final 5 minutes of the contest here in the beautiful Centennial Sports Arena. Glad you could make us a part of your Saturday night. A little reschedule from a game earlier in the month with the snowy conditions around the Twin Cities. And always a fun one when we got blue versus red in a Cat Clash rivalry to bring you. As Blaine, still, even in these scenarios, the odds are stacked against you. You're going on the power play. You're trying to shake off a rough patch, Bill, and a chance against, I mean, one of these truly top-tier teams in the state in Centennial. I was talking to Steve Guider about this a couple weeks ago. Blaine, this is an important game, even when it's out of hand, to face a team that plays at a different kind of caliber and a different kind of speed. We've mentioned it. Blaine are going to see those types of teams like Andover coming up soon in section playoffs, so they've got to kind of get their legs under them and get used to that type of speed and talent they play with.
Oh, no question about it. There's always a learning experience to be had. And, you know, what do they owe for their last 18 on the power play? So this is an important power play for them, just to get a little confidence to break the shutout, to end the shutout, to break their power play drought. This is an important power play, and there's a reason he took a timeout to set it up. They've got to get going on special teams if they want to get this offense going.
5th tripping penalty we've seen called of the night. Nearly a shorthanded opportunity. Racing the other way was Ella O'Hearn for Centennial SLP. Grayson Knowles will try to break it out for Blaine with a skater up. Knowles fires a shot, covered up by Gross between the chest and the glove here. We got 1:39 left to go, most of which will be spent with the Bengals on the power play.
Yeah, and this is, you know, it's always fun to broadcast these Cat Clashes, and the rare game that features all 3 of our teams in our North Metro TV coverage area. So,
are there any other Centennial SLP co-ops? This is the only opportunity, if not.
Yeah, I think that's it, because Coon Rapids and SLP are together for boys lacrosse. So yes, it is. It's the only time this can happen. And so, of course, we're going to cover this game. We're going to do a multi-cam shoot. The terrific Ted LaRue directing, pulling out all the stops to give you coverage of a high-quality game. Great talent, yeah, no question about it. But yeah, Blaine has to, even just to get a couple quality shots on goal, because they're just having a hard time even setting up in the Centennial SLP zone, as we've got just a minute left to play here.
Icing against the Bengals, so they're going to have to try to set up this power play starting in their own defensive end here.
And you know he wants the shutout meanwhile.
Oh, yeah. And you know Miss Smiles, Caitlin Gross, the junior, in between the pipes on the other end, wants it too, looking for her third of the year. Of note, I mean, we've talked about how terrific this offense has been for Centennial. 12th highest scoring team in the state. They're on pace to reach 100 goals for the first time since that state runner-up team in 2018. Defensively, this is going to be their third shutout in the last 4 games. And Centennial had just 1 shutout to open up the season through their first 14. So they are on quite a run here defensively. The other night on Thursday, a 6-0 victory against CDH. It was Anna Peterson, the backup goalie, in net. Gross going for individually her 3rd shutout of the season here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's if they can start to tighten up the defense to match that explosive offense, and they're really going to obviously ride Lauren O'Hara in the playoffs, but if they can get a defensive effort to match their offense, the future is really, really bright for this team.
Big night for the Stars. Lauren O'Hara, the Minnesota Golden Gopher commit, scores twice. Pats on the helmet for the junior Caitlin Gross, who stops all 13 for her 3rd shutout of the season. It's a 3-0 Centennial SLP win over rivals Blaine. From myself, Matt Dean, from Bill Hubb, Ted LaRue, our director, and our entire terrific, talented crew here on North Metro TV, we're signing off here from the Centennial Sports Arena. The Cougars roll to their 15th victory this season, 3-0 here tonight over Blaine.